thank you, Mrs. Valian, for introducing this opinion, which is of great importance to this committee. I think, well, nobody's asked to speak now, so no doubt colleagues will react at the next committee meeting. But you have mentioned many issues which have cropped up during today's committee meeting anyway, so thank you, Mrs. Valian. Let's move on now to the report on the fact-finding visit to Berlin. The chairman of the delegation was Mr. Woolander.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I thought that my colleague was going to take the floor on the subject in a moment, but I can give you a brief summary of what we've noted so far. The mission report, which was drawn up by Mrs. Yotova, who was in the group that went to Berlin, is considered to be as a working document to make it possible for members of the delegation to amend things so that we can present to the Petitions Committee a final consensus and compromise by way of report, which will be submitted, of course, to the committee and adopted, so that that report will then be ready to become a public document and
de la Commission.
And thus a committee document representing the delegation that went to Berlin. I can't tell you any more at this stage. I could have presented this working document to you today, but we haven't really had the possibility of getting to work on it yet. We've just decided on the approach to adopt the working method, and we're still amending matters. But I can answer to any questions if you have any.
Becker.
Ich habe nicht erwartet, so schnell.
I didn't expect to get the floor so quickly. Thank you. I would like to thank Philippe very much for what he just explained. I think that is a very faithful, well, that is the approach we should adopt. We need time, I think, to compare impressions and try to find common ground, because there are differing positions, and I think what Philippe said was a faithful depiction of the situation, and I think the method that's adopted will make it possible for us to arrive at agreement and achieve that objective that he outlined.
Ja.
Ja, ich kann's kurz machen.
Yes, I can be brief. Thank you to Philippe. I think that is the right approach. I would just have one request then, that we would see this document of the working group in one of the next meetings. I think unanimity is always the best approach. If you have to, you can put things to a vote, but I look forward to seeing the document so that we can start discussing this in committee. But I'm convinced that you will be able to put something together in good time.
Legutto.
Well, a short point. I think the matter is long overdue, and it should be brought to a conclusion as quickly as possible. From what I know, there are some reasonable recommendations in the working document, but we have taken too much time already, so I think the matter is pressing.
Bossinaro.
Madam Chair, just one single sentence. I welcome this very wise, if not rabbinic idea, to further sit together and work to have compromises, to reach compromises which are beneficial for the committee and for the credibility of our work. So I'm happy with the outcome which exists today, and this example should be followed in the future to prevent other conflicts. Bravo.
Quindi, riassumendo I vostri...
Well, to sum up, colleague Yotova is here now. I was just about to say she wasn't coming, but we're nearly out of time.
You can take the floor.
Colleagues, I will inform you about the documentary work from the fact-finding mission in Berlin related to the problems of divorces in mixed marriages. Even when people are of the same nationality, disputes about custody of children can escalate. Transborder disputes are particularly dangerous, especially when one of the parents does not have knowledge about the legal system. The fact-finding mission was organized due to the numerous petitions to our Commission related to the work of the Commission on the problems of children in Germany. The petitioners complain that the officers in Jugendamt violate their rights and the measures which are adopted are discriminatory and arbitrary, and very often they intervene without being asked to. There was a mission before us back in 2007. The largest number of petitions relate to the acts of services about vis-à-vis parents who are not Germans and their children are prohibited to speak their mother tongue. We had meetings with representatives of family courts, of representatives of Jugendamt. The mission had a very brief time, which prevented us from getting exhaustive information. We sent back additional questions to the authorities, and this is the cause for the delay in the preparation of our document. We had several meetings between us. We have prepared the gist of the text, and we're trying to reach consensus. You very well understand that this is a delicate problem. We would not like to intervene in the national legislation of Germany or to contest the right to subsidiarity. On the other side, we would like to prepare a formal document to help the people who address us and expect help from us. I would like to underscore that we still continue to receive letters from citizens who face problems with the services taking care of youths in Germany. We would like that our document would make a progress in the solution of this issue. We are confident that we will be able to prepare a text on the basis of consensus, and we will present it to you at the next meeting. Thank you.
Quindi,
So at the next meeting, we will put approval of the document on the agenda. Mr. Wieland.
Will nur ganz kurz,
I just want to say something very briefly. I'm quite pleased that things have moved a little. There are three things that are important to me here. First, the petition was declared admissible because it said that European citizens were being discriminated against through the legal system. So then you have to confine your conclusions to that. Now, the accusation that there wasn't enough time, Mr. Yar and myself have done our best to keep up with the programme, and we said that 2 days were necessary. It was actually a decision of this House that it would only be a one-day visit. So I think, the criticism that there was too little time, isn't really the fault of everybody here. And I think it's important to state that a fact-finding mission, and I have led a number, a fact-finding mission is really sending the eyes and ears out from this committee, and then the eyes and ears report back. So because we are sending out eyes and ears, to report back to the entire committee afterwards. So you have to accept the fact that if you can't reach consensus on the conclusions, it may be necessary to have votes on amendments and so forth and put the whole thing to the vote, because all we've done, as I say, is sending out our eyes and ears, but it's up to the whole committee then to pass judgment on the conclusions.
Аз благодаря на господин Виланд. Само искам да подчертая.
I would like to thank Mr. Wieland. This is his opinion. He was an ex officio, a member of the delegation, and his opinion in no way involves other members of the delegation.
Pulan, 1 minute.
Le document
The document that we are basing ourselves on as a working document was the subject of a vote in comparison with a shorter document. This working document that the majority of the members of the delegation who went to the Berlin agreed on is one that reflects the majority view of the delegation that went to Berlin. That's the first point. Second point, we wanted to hold a vote to be as democratic as possible, to find an objective way of taking a decision. And the third point, and there I don't quite agree with what Mr. Wieland is proposing, but I don't know what the tradition is in the committee. It seemed to us in the working group that it was up to us to try to arrive at consensus through internal amendments in the working group, so that when the final document that would be the subject of consensus and compromise in the working group was submitted to the Petitions Committee, then, in our view, the Petitions Committee should simply vote for or against the report. I mean, we feel that members of the Petitions Committee who haven't really worked on the ground on this report, that haven't been closely involved, because obviously everybody has their particular interests in different subjects, but we didn't really feel that members of the Petitions Committee would be able to amend the text without having been there, precisely without having been the ears and eyes of the committee on the spot. So with all due respect for the Petitions Committee, our understanding is that the working group should establish a document which is the subject of consensus, and that should be put to the vote in committee, but not amended by the committee. That wouldn't really be logical.
Dear colleagues, we are out of time, so we have to start to speak in English because we cannot abuse of the interpreters. So, Mr. Yar.
My proposal is very short and clear. We should make a discussion about this rule in the coordinator meetings, because I think we have many fact-finding missions in the next time. And from time to time there is no agreement, and we should talk about it, but what's happened in this case. And that's why the second proposal for me for the next coordinator meeting, we should make a discussion about the rules in the coordinator meeting, how we deal such a report now and also in the future, and that would be the best, I think. And you sure come together and make an agreement. It's not forbidden. We are very happy if you come back and say that we are 5 members from the delegation and 5 members have the same opinions. That would be a good situation. You can work also, go forward and work on this report. And we decide we will decide in the coordinated meeting how we want to deal with this Dutch report about the delegation.
Okay, in the next coordinators meeting we will face the item, but we will be at the end of the legislature. The committee is submerged with rules because we are adopting rules by rules. I agree with you. I will face the item next time. Mr. Wieland.
I address very well what colleague Jotova said. I'm a simple and humble member of this petition committee. And of course, my opinion is not binding anybody, neither in the fact-finding mission nor in the petition committee. What I claim is a certain procedural common understanding on the procedures. And it happened that I, together, was sent to Austria with others, and 2 other colleagues said we cannot go. And at the end of the day, I found myself in Austria with the ex officio member Lichtenberger, and I made my fact findings. So, if it is true what colleague Boulon said, that only the eyes and ears should use the brain, yeah, then, of course, I would have been in a very privileged situation as a member of the fact-finding to Austria. I could make a report for my own, and nobody could stop me. So this cannot be the ratio of delegations. Yeah.
Of course, Mr. Wieland, thank you very much. You have to take the floor, Mr.
Just
Bastinaro.
one single remark. It's evident the rules applicable to the reports have to be the same rules as on any other reports. That's right. Number one. Number two, each political group is entitled to have representatives in fact-finding missions, and if they decide not to join the mission, it's their legitimate right, but it's an obligation, but nobody can stop an MEP, any MEP, to table amendments. And the final, it is a decision taken previously in the previous legislature that if there are different divergent opinions, the divergent opinions are incorporated as a separate opinion or an alternative report. If it is the case, nobody can stop any MEP or anybody belonging to this distinguished committee to table amendments. The idea to have compromise amendment is perfect. I welcome very much. But theoretically, if there is no such a possibility, we cannot breach the existing rules, not be in breach with the existing rules. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with you theoretically, but practically we cannot forget our role. We have to support citizens and not to fight each other. So we have to try to reach a consensus, and I have to underline that I don't think that we need a lot of rules for making to make a report on a mission. We cannot have different ideas on the descriptive part, because everybody was present, and so this is a part which cannot be so different from a member to another. Perhaps we can differ on the conclusions and the recommendations, and this could be adopted by a vote with amendments. But I don't think that we can propose a majority and a minority report for the mission. But we will discuss next time. It's not a report. It's a document. It's a document. Yes, amendments, suggestions to change, to make change. Yes, if you have a consensus. Yes, you can suggest to cooperate.